what's up, y'all? So I'm just gonna run through a quick disclaimer real quick, just to remind folks, if you're just checking me out for the first time, I'm just a dude, not a professional mental health anything, just a guy running off at the face on his motorcycle, because I feel like inevitably somebody's gonna say, well, you're not well, I'm not, and I never said I was, and I probably won't be, because mental health stuff is nuts, and I would never want to deal with it on a professional level. So let's get into today's topic, which is self-reflection, and also I always approach these little scenarios and stories that I spit out in the third person. I'm usually 99.99% talking about myself, and this is just me spitting out my thoughts and just, trying to see if the world can understand how I interpret things. And every now and then some folks decide to chime in and tell me they feel the yay or the nay on what I said, and definitely appreciate my folks from Tonnet coming over, checking out my videos. Those dudes usually do a pretty good job of shouting me out in the mental health thread we got going on there. So without further ado, let's get into the yap of this video. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's called self-reflection, is when you basically take a look at yourself and not just in the mirror, because you do that. I like to use analogies as well. Like, you look at yourself in the mirror every morning, I hope, when you're doing your morning grooming routine. You brush your teeth, you're doing your flossing, you're doing your eyebrow waxing. If you got some unmanageable eyebrows, you're doing your, checking for eye boogies, cleaning out the nooks and the crannies. Jesus and everybody he knows. So much dust. And then you leave. You don't really stand there in the mirror. Good God, there's so much dust in my face right now. Sorry. You don't really stand there in the mirror looking over yourself for any lengthy amount of time. You check for the big hitters. You make sure you got nose hairs under control. You make sure your teeth ain't yellow. Make sure you got all the soap and toothpaste off. Throw on some lotion, you're out. Whatever you do, right? But you don't just stand there in the mirror looking at yourself. And a lot of us don't do that as well. What's up, Scooter bro? With our mental health, with our personality, our experiences. Like, if you were to stand in the mirror, like I did a few days ago, and just kind of take a second, like, I got a mole over my eyelid, like one of the Morgan Freeman joints, like the little skin taggy boys. They had no idea I had it, and I'm like, how long has this been here? When did I get this? Why did I get this? How, did I not notice it before? It's because I just make sure that my face is somewhat presentable, and I'm out. I didn't take a deep look. Sometimes you'll realize that, hey, you got bloodshot eyes. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep last night. If you do that with your physical appearance, and then therefore take it and apply that same technique to your mental health, it's an eye-opener, like legit. And it's not something you do by mistake. It's not something you do by chance. It has to be very intentional. Like, you can have a few moments where you think about something real quick. No, you have to take time, days, weeks, and really, really focus on yourself. Go through like a mental checklist, basically an inventory of your thoughts and feelings, and then ask those standard questions like I just said before. Who, what, when, where, how, and why? Who made me feel like this? Why do I feel like this? When did I start feeling like this? And try to relive some of your older conversations and things you go through, which was actually one of the reasons why I posted my regrets video a couple weeks back, because I have been lately taking a lot of time and just looking at myself, going over so many past conversations, arguments. And it doesn't always have to be bad decisions, opportunities that I took, opportunities that I missed out on, opportunities that I decided not to even try for. Like, I don't have a photographic memory, but I have a pretty good memory of the things I've screwed up. I don't know what that is, if there's a medical term for it. Like, I'm not gonna remember your face exactly where I could draw out the detail, but I remember when I screwed up something. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just guilt. Have a guilt-laden memory. That's what I got. So when you do that, you start to get or understand sometimes other people's views on your thoughts. You really question yourself a lot And not to say you're doing it in a bad way, like not doubting yourself. There's a difference between doubting yourself and questioning yourself, reviewing the things that you've gone through, said, been through, experienced, felt, and trying to give them another play in your brain. Sometimes just to make sure that, hey, was I right about this situation? Was I completely wrong about this situation? You know, was my response okay? Was it too much? Was it too little? Because sometimes in the moment when you're thinking, talking, making decisions, you can only feel what you're feeling then. And then when you look, I've said this before in another video, when you look back at an event from today's eyes, maybe you'll go, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have did this. It doesn't work in reverse. Like, you can only look back and people go, oh, you know, hindsight is 20/20. It is, and those feelings don't change retroactively. It's not like you can look back at something you did then and then change the feeling you had about it then based on how you feel about it now. You can only change how you feel about it now and forward, or you can keep that same sensation, but you can't retroactively go, oh, I feel better about that back then, because if you felt better about it back then based on how you think now, you wouldn't be thinking about it introspectively now to change the way you feel. Man, I'm deep sometimes. That's confusing, but you get what I'm saying. Those feelings caused you to think about that situation. You thought about the situation, replayed the situation. Either you kept the same feeling that you had initially, or you changed that feeling. But if you originally had a good feeling to where you didn't have to think about it to see if you needed to change those feelings before, you wouldn't do so. So I basically said the same thing twice, just tried to reword it just a smidge. And it's intentional. Some people do it, you know, based on a life event. You know, myself personally, lady, based it on a series of life events. Sometimes, you know, shit just got bad. Good Lord, still got dust in my lungs. And I'm like, you know, I gotta really take a second and just look at myself. And you can't do it under the gaze of somebody else. You really need to be kind of off to yourself. You know, I try to do it on a motorcycle. I try to do it, you know, but I gotta focus. Like, you need some time to basically meditate. You know, you don't have to sit legs crossed, Gandhi style, you know, with your fingers tips together, trying to float off the couch. You can basically be sitting in a desk, a chair, at work, in the shower. Some people say, you know, that's when you take time to think about your life situations. I was caught earlier today by a coworker. She was like, are you just staring at a ceiling tile? I was waiting to go to lunch, waiting on a buddy, and I was just chilling, staring at the ceiling tile, thinking about stuff. She was like, oh, I do that in the shower. And, you know, I thought about it. I'm like, yo, the amount of crap I think about, my water bill would be so damn high if I did it in the shower. Listen, I'm introspective, but I ain't rich, okay? I ain't trying to crank out my water bill just so I can reflect on life. I do that when I dry off. But that's me. If you want to be Aquaman and think about your thoughts, do what you got to do. Whatever gets those thoughts out onto the table so that you can review them. And it has to be intentional. You have to think about it. You have to accept the thoughts, and then you have to accept that maybe things weren't as equitable as they seemed back then when you had the conversation, decision, whatever. And then the scariest part of that is if you decide to think over those thoughts, you got to go get a second opinion, because you can think something and you can go, hey, like I asked my friends, and you got to fight that confirmation bias. Don't go looking for somebody to tell you were right. You got to have, you know, some friends will look out for you in their way and just try to tell you you're right without hurting your feelings, or tell you you're wrong without hurting your feelings. And some friends will just be like, hey, you know, I don't want nothing to do with that, which is obviously their choice. And some folks will lead you astray, but that's up to you to figure out who you're going to divulge those thoughts to get their opinion. And you also have to be cognizant of the fact that they can only base their opinion on what you've shown them. If they only get one side to a story and you're asking them about how the outcome was, and they don't have both sets of information, it's hard for them to not say something in your favor if they've only ever seen stuff that's gone wrong for you and they're only wishing for the best for you. But if you did some shitty stuff, they got to be like, yo, yeah, that was on you, bro. And you can look for the opposite of confirmation bias, which is falsification bias. Yeah, I think that's it. Google's your friend. Google's my friend. I'm pretty sure it's falsification bias. You can go and look for somebody to make sure that, hey, if I'm right, you need to tell me that I'm wrong. If I'm feeling that I'm right, sorry. And you have to be able to take all that information and make a sound decision on how you're going to proceed. Either you're going to let it go, process it further, think about it again later, put it on the back burner so you can readdress it and then maybe make a final decision, or you're just going to live with it. There's plenty of things that I feel bad about now that I can't do anything about, and I'm just going to have to live with it. And then they come back around when I'm on my introspective journey every now and then, and I think about it again, and I rehash it, and I go, oh, crap. And I can only remember the context of a conversation from my point of view. I can only remember the things that I said to a point. I can't remember everything exactly. And over time, those memories become faded. What you thought you said might not have been what you really said. So it's rough, but it's something I believe is important for a lot of people to just take the time and go, I need to look at me basically to see if I'm an asshole, or see if the things that I've been doing are warranted in any particular situation. Now, it's very vague because you go through so many situations in life. I can't say relationship, I can't say work, I can't say life in general, I can't say anything direct, because you'd make, I don't know, millions of decisions in your lifetime, possibly billions. And some of those are major, and they stick out to the point where, hey, this has affected my life in such a way that I need to really, really think about it. And you can only do that by taking a close look at yourself, I think. And once you come up with, your solution, your resolution, your, I don't know, reconciliation with yourself, sometimes you feel a little bit better. There's a lot of things that I feel worse about, unfortunately, but I'm glad I took the time to look at them and either confirm or learn more about myself and go, damn, I was wrong. Of course, it's awesome when you're right, but sometimes you got to accept that, hey, you was wrong, and that's how it is. I do that a lot when I ask my daughter if I'm a good parent. The worst thing I can do is think I'm a good parent, and my daughter tell me I'm not. It's great when she says that I am not a bad parent, but she didn't necessarily say I'm a good parent. So it makes you reflect on all those things, and then when I go to her and ask for her opinion, it would weigh a lot more than me going to my friends and asking, yo, you think I'm a good parent? They don't know. They could say maybe I'm a good parent based on their views as me as a friend and how I parent my children because we're peers, but my daughter would have a completely different answer based on the fact that I'm her parent and I'm not her peer, and she is being the subject of my parenting. So I have two different scenarios right there where I would get probably two different answers based off the exact same situation, and I would have to accept those if I chose to take my inner retrospective findings and give them to someone else. I could just feel like I'm a crappy parent and never ask my daughter and never confirm or deny what it is that I'm thinking. But what would be the whole point of taking that time and looking at myself if I don't want to find out from the actual person that I'm making that introspective view on? And that happened to be parenting. If I'm working with my coworkers, I can say, yo, am I lazy? Am I a crappy coworker, or do I do too much? Am I too tight? Am I too tense? And I would have to take their advice, or I would have to deal with the fact that I just wasted my time. I'm sorry, I don't want to say wasted my time, but I just went through this introspective journey just to what? What is the resolution? There has to be some type of resolution. Either I'm going to say, like I said before, I'm going to live with it and not ask, and that's my resolution, or I'm going to ask the source and go, hey, can you either confirm or deny the things that I said that I felt to myself in my own head about our relationship? And they're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? So you're going to have to go through explaining that I'm on my hippie journey to find oneness, and I need your help. Maybe you might not want to approach it that way, maybe you will. But the gist of the video is sometimes you got to take a little bit out to look at yourself and be honest. That's probably the hardest part, other than confirmation from somebody if you suck or not. Being honest. Self-reflection's a bitch. I'm out.